Hi, Patrick here, have Cheetah View, and we are here to take a look at the brand new horror anthology film, Jinxx Presents The Devil's Vortex. Uh, this is written and co-directed by Nelson Cooper and Joss. It is has a cast of many. It is written and edited also by Nelson and Coop and Joss. Uh, and it's like I said, it's an anthology film, and our host is Jinxx, and he is standing in front of a house in Ojai, California. The aforementioned Devil's Vortex. It happens to be a small house in Ojai, California. I think up to this point, I think the most famous that Ojai has ever been talked about on either in a film or TV is where Ohio is where the $6 million woman lived. she she taught school in Ohio. Okay, so it's an anthology film, and our host Jinxx walks us through and introduces us to each segment, and then it comes back and tells a little bit more about the house and creepy things that go bump in the night and whatnot. Um, There's five stories to tell. No real wraparound. No real. He's just there to tell. He's just there to facilitate the story moving forward. Sometimes anthologies will have a wraparound, a story within a story, but this one's just pretty much straight up talk. Uh, all right, so this was a fun film for me, in respect that I got to see three old friends that have been on Eight Questions with the lovely Gabrielle Archambault, the fun-loving Audrey Neal, and the very talented Paris. I know I'm going to say this because I got to be careful because sometimes I did this before. Paris Dillon. See, I remembered. Uh, Paris Dillon is also here. Now we've talked to all three of them before. Paris directed Dying to Sleep was one of our top films last year, and we talked to Audrey Neal, and she was in the Sorority Babes of the Bolorama Part Two, the sequel to that. And then we talked to the lovely Gabrielle Archambault, and she and I share a tremendous love for our favorite actress, Haley Bennett. All right, now I really want to sit here and say how much fun I had with this. I can't wait for you guys to see it and whatnot. But I got to be honest with you, this one was a little rough for me. This was a little rough. I the first three stories of the five just I guess yeah, there's six, maybe six stories. Well, the first four of the six just make no sense at all. Make no sense at all. Um, the first three stories were over and done with in a matter of like 3 or 4 minutes. I would have thought it was more. I mean, and there's no story, there's no setup, there's no resolutions. It's just like we feel like we're walking in the middle of a segment. That's what it feels like. It feels like we walked into the theater holding our bag of popcorn and we missed the first 10 minutes, and then we're spending the next 10 minutes asking what happened, what happened, and nothing happened. But we don't know that. Um, yeah, it felt honestly, and it felt honestly that like I was watching rehearsal. It felt like I was watching somebody rehearse for a bigger role, a bigger play, bigger movie. It didn't. It was incomplete. It was like, and the editing is just horrendous for the first three segments. That is what kills this movie more than anything else. Is the editing is not very good at all. Some of the colors got really muted toward the end. Shooting at night, you really can't see too much at all. Um, and that's a real shame. It's a real shame because, but because anthologies, like I said before, they're a bear, and it's not easy for to get it down right. There have been some really well known directors that have taken a crack at anthologies and have come falling short. Um, So yeah, there is 6 stories, and I really wish to say, they were all tight. They were all exciting. Only the last one was probably the best one, and that had a really good outer limits. Had a really good outer limits feel to it. I really liked the last one. I knew where it was going to go when I saw it, and it didn't disappoint me. I really enjoyed the last one. I also want to give credit to Jinxx for his work. Before taking us to the segments. They're all saying you could take a horse up to the water, but you can't make him drink. Well, I felt sort of bad for Jinxx because he did a great job in setting us up for a cool story. But unfortunately, you got to have a cool story first in order to be able to tell it. Um, it's there's some decent effects that were in the movie, especially the makeup was fine. Um, story number story number 4 had some intriguing possibilities to it because we all can about 4 friends and sometimes friends will just drive you nuts and and it has some promise to it. It just has some promise to it. But it was really really hard to overcome the first 3 table setters, which take you out of the movie. It just felt so completely incomplete and a little jarring. Like, what's going on? You're lost before you even get going, and that sort of hurts the movie as well. But again, that belongs to the editors. The editors just, I don't know what happened. I can't tell you. Maybe it'll be one of the questions you'll hear when I interview them, because I would really like to know what happened there. I really would, because maybe and again, it's like one of those things where it's like there were 2 stories that could have been, with a little bit of tender love, stretched out, and all you really need after that is just one more story. A lot of times, people who do editors, I find they tend to stretch them out. They tend to stuff them. I'll see how many stories I can get done in a 90-minute period. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it's okay to put out 3 stories in a wraparound. I like those myself. One of the most famous anthology films did that. Trilogy of Chair had a wraparound and 3 stories, main stories, and that's all it needed. And it's an immortal story. Um, but like I said, the positives were definitely the positives for all the actors I've talked to before. They all did fine. I wish Audrey could have been on screen a little bit longer. I thought Gabrielle did fine. She looked great. Again, I wish her story could have been a little bit longer. Uh, and of course Paris. And his story was, yeah, you can see that story. You can see the end of that story coming from a mile away. But he still did a nice job for what he was given with. Um, so that's it. That's all I got for Jinxx presents the Devil's Vortex. I think for a first time effort, because it does sound like they want to try to make this into a series. I think they stayed within their budget. They did what they did. I think they did okay for what they had. I could definitely see this coming back and doing another one. There's definitely room for that. I mean, anthologies are, like I said, when they're done right, people love them. And I think that if they wanted to come back and revisit another Vortex with Jinxx, I would just sit there and say stretch it out to 3 stories in a wraparound. Um, I think you'd be better served for more thought out, more written out stories. I think you would. I think you do fine, and I would be very much interested in seeing what you can come up with. But for this one, I love you guys all. um, because I know all the actors are going to hear this. I love you guys all, but hey, it happens, right? So but thanks for the rest of everybody else watching our review. They all can't work out. Sometimes someone stumbles. But we'll be back for the next one. Doesn't mean we don't love everybody that was in this film. We know they're talented. We know they're extremely talented. And yeah, we'll see you for the next one. And as far as everybody else, we'll see you for your next one as well. Thanks for watching the review. And if you get a chance to see Devil's Vortex, drop me a comment. Let me know if I was right or wrong. I've been known to be wrong more often than not. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace. Oh, if you're new to the channel, hit the sub button, hit the like button, and please, by all means, please drop a comment down below. Thanks so much for watching.